Clarence Tynes will kick it off for the Giants to get this game underway. Short turnaround with the Giants playing their preseason finale on Thursday night at home. Bernie Parmalee, third-year man out of Toledo, back deep for the Ravens. Good crowd on hand tonight here in Baltimore for this third preseason game for the Giants and Ravens. Good kickoff by Tynes, 4 yards deep. Parmalee will run it out. Parmalee makes a man miss at the 15-yard line, runs out of a couple of tackles, gets up to the 30, and takes it out across the 30-yard line, a return of 38. Let's take a look at tonight's lineups, brought to you by Nissan. It's the end of the model year, and Nissan's laying it all on the line. Nissan's bottom line sales event going on now. Joe Flacco, 63% last season, 3,600 yards, and really kind of coming into his own in his third year out of Delaware, the 18th overall pick in the 2008 draft. Ravens, one of the better running teams in the NFL. Ray Rice in motion. Flacco to throw on first down. Flips one over the middle, intended for his tight end. And incomplete. Or Anquan Bolden, excuse me, intended for. Bruce Johnson on the coverage. We'll take a look at Ray Rice out of New Rochelle High School. Pro Bowler last year with 1,339 yards. LaRon McClain can run it as a fullback. Anquan Bolden, the big acquisition in a trade with Arizona in the offseason. Derek Mason, the veteran, back for another year after contemplating retirement in the spring. 2nd and 10 for Baltimore. Flacco under pressure. He's going to get sacked by Justin Tuck.
Defensive line, these defensive ends have been very active. Last game they were very active. In this game, again, here's Justin Tuck. He's lined up on the inside. No, he's on the outside, but he comes around the middle here on a little stunt and gets Flacco right up the gut.
Loss of 7 on the play. 3rd and 17 for the Ravens. Flacco will throw for the 3rd consecutive time down the right sideline, and it's incomplete, intended for Clayton. Webster on the coverage. So an incomplete pass on first down, a sack on 2nd, and then Webster with good coverage on Clayton, and the Ravens go 3 and out.
Let's take a look here at Webster. Good position here all the way down. Looks back at the right time. Ball thrown well, but Webster had just enough position there to cause that one to be incomplete.
Sam Cook to punt for the Ravens. Mario Manningham will get the first turn back deep with Aaron Ross hurt. Goes to the sideline, and Manningham catches it and steps out of bounds inside the Giant 20 at the 16-yard line. 56-yard punt, no return.
Bob, I tell you that the absence of a return game is going to really be an issue here if they can't find a guy. They're so used to having hits and giving them good field position, this offense. But right now, they don't have a guy that they can say, this is our return guy for the year.
Eli Manning would like to get the offense moving, coming off a career high 4,021 yards last year with that new helmet and a revamped offensive line. Will Beatty starts at right tackle tonight. A migraine for McKenzie. Manning's first pass complete to Hakeem Nicks at the 22-yard line. It's a gain of 5 on the play as we take a look at the Giants' starting offense. Ahmad Bradshaw and Madison Hedgecock in the backfield. Mario Manningham, Steve Smith, Hakeem Nicks in the wide receiver sets. And you see that offensive line. Guy Wimper starting for Soybert, who's at center because of the injury to O'Hara. Beatty starting at right tackle. Deal back out to the tackle spot. Bradshaw with some room gets hit and dropped in the hole as it closed in a hurry. Corey Redding in his 8th year out of Tennessee with the tackle.
Now here's a run play here. They're trying to stretch him out and create a natural cutback. Very disciplined here. Here you'll see Bradshaw start here and end up back there. Will Beatty couldn't hold the block there.
Yeah, it looked like it was right there for him. That's a look at the Giants starting offense, brought to you by Nissan. So 3rd and 5 for Manning. Under a bit of pressure on the run, he throws it for Smith, incomplete. Knocked away by Hikuri Nakamura of the Ravens. So both teams go 3 and out on their first offensive possessions.
So look, just a lot of pressure. Manning under duress here, and this is the rustiness of this offensive line and the different positions they're playing. You're playing against a very good and active front from the Baltimore Ravens, and they've got to hold these guys if Manning expects to play this whole game.
The punt by Dodge, fielded at the 30-yard line by Dante Stallworth, the former Patriot and Eagle, Cleveland Brown, who's back in the NFL after missing last year because of a suspension. So Joe Flacco and the offense will come on after a 48-yard. Ravens went 3 and out on their first possession. Flacco out of the shotgun will throw for a 4th consecutive time. He's under pressure. He's going to get sacked. Rocky Bernard on the sack.
That's good news for the Giants. Their interior line wasn't stellar last week, Bob, but they're getting that push up the field here, which is good. Good news because the ends are playing well. They have to get production from the bigs.
Loss of 3, 2 Giant sacks so far. Ravens have not run the ball, and now a false start against Baltimore as some of their offensive line move, but the center, Matt Burke, a veteran, 6-time Pro Bowler, never snapped it.
Number 73, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Marshall Yonda, the right guard, called for the false start in his 4th year out of Iowa. This is a Ravens team that likes to run the football with Ray Rice. They've got Willis McGahee and LaRon McClain.
Well, I suspect one of the reasons they're passing so much is to try to get these new receivers, Stallworth and Bolin, in sync with him too.
2nd and 18 now for Flacco and the Ravens. Todd Heap in motion. Flacco will throw again. Ray Rice with the catch at the 30. Gets touched down by Michael Bolin after a gain of 7. As we take a look at the Giants starting defense, Justin Tuck has a sack tonight. So does Rocky Bernard. Carl Osi Umenyiora and Matthias Kiwanuka, they're going to play equal snaps.
Well, the coach said don't worry about a controversy. They're both going to see the same amount of snaps.
Flacco on a 3rd and long. Anquan Bolden wide open, 1st down to the Giant 46-yard line. Gain of 23.
Anquan Bolden goes up and gets that ball. Now Flacco was under a little duress as they go a little hurry up here. They're going no huddle anyway. There he is, just throws it out there, and Bolden can go up and get it. The safeties don't want to get beat deep. I saw Rowe respecting the speed there, but they got to get better intermediate coverage there.
Those 2 former teammates last year in Arizona. So the first down of the ball game, and Flacco will throw again. Throws a slant right and completes it to the Giant 38-yard line. Mason on the catch. Clint Sinton, Jonathan Goff, Michael Boley, the starting linebackers for the Giants tonight. Corey Webster and Bruce Johnson, the corners, with Ross and Terrell Thomas out as Flacco keeps it and runs it for a 1st down on a 2nd and short, with Roll and Deion Grant the safeties.
I believe that's the first rush of the game for Baltimore.
It is. It came out and threw the football on every play until that run. First and 10 Ravens at the Giants 35. Flacco will throw again. Been sacked twice, avoids some pressure. Flacco throwing on the run, out of bounds, incomplete. Mason along the sideline, but he ran out of real estate. I guess the good news here, Carl, the Giants are getting pressure on Flacco almost on every pass play.
Yeah, they are. These defensive ends, here you see up the field here, up the field there, no pocket. They push the pocket. He leaks out there on the run, under duress. Good coverage on the back end of that. That's good news if you're a Giants fan wanting to see a pass rush.
2nd and 10 from the Giants 35. Rice the tailback. Flacco to throw again, middle of the field. Heat catches it, tackled at the Giants 28-yard line by Bruce Johnson. Carl, that's an area last year that was a weakness, and we've seen in the preseason that middle of the field remains open.
Well, it's a counter to a blitz or a pass rush. You run a guy there, doesn't take long to get the ball off, So they've got to tighten up the coverage in the intermediate areas, especially when the pass rush is getting there.
3rd and 3 for the Ravens here in a scoreless first. Rice to the left of Flacco. Again, he's under pressure, but he's got a lot of room to run, and he goes into a slide at the Giants' 18-yard line before a roll came up.
Now that's just all Joe Flacco there. The Giants were in man-to-man coverage on this. They brought it. He escaped the pocket, but they had everyone with their back to the quarterback here, and the only guy who could see him was Antrell Roll, and he comes up at the last second to get him down for minimal yardage.
Todd Heap inside the 10 to the 6-yard line. Johnson on the tackle. So a little fast break offense here from the Ravens, going no huddle. Flacco for Bolden, behind him and incomplete. Mason had it in his hands, and it falls to the turf.
You know, this no huddle offense, I don't know if it caught him off balance because you're seeing a good pass rush, but it accelerates your thought process out there. That's good coverage there by Webster, but no huddle offense accelerates the things you want to do.
2nd and goal. Rice gets gobbled up as Johnson came in.
And then a
Roll came in to make the hit, but it was good work by the defensive line, Carl, to cut off his run lane.
Again, they're playing this is the most complete I've seen them play, both pass now and run, but they have to be ready for everything. If this were a regular season game, you can't come off the field and say, hey, well, they caught us off guard. You have to be ready for everything.
So 3rd and goal for the Ravens in a drive that started at their own 32. Rice in a one-back set, 3 receivers bunched to the right. Flacco looking right, back of the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Mason. Corey Webster on the coverage.
I have to tell you, this has been good work for the Giants defense. This has been a totally different look than they had in the first 2 preseason games. Now, this has been like a 2-minute drill since the game started.
Mason run the back of the end zone. Webster on his hip, got a piece of the football. Knocked it away so he couldn't reel it in. 25-yard field goal attempt for Billy Cundiff. The Ravens have 2 kickers, Cundiff and Graham, battling it out. Operation is clean and Cundiff stripes it through. So on the Ravens' 2nd offensive possession, they move it down.
I think giving some is not a bad thing when you're getting a good pass rush, but can't give up the big ones.
Billy Cundiff to kick it off with the Ravens in front 3-0. Good high kick. Brown will run it out for the Giants. Tim Brown planted at the 10-yard line. Tavares Gooden on the tackle. So Tim Brown and the rookie out of Rutgers, Genzi, came down with a migraine before the game, so he's not playing tonight as well.
Can't make the club in the tub.
There's Will Beatty. Got the late start at right tackle. Rich Seubert, the center tonight. 2nd possession for the Giants. 1st and 10. Bradshaw on the run. Takes it to the outside. Stiff arms Landry and dives ahead to the 16-yard line. Picks up about 5 as it's time for the Toyota keys to the game, Carl.
Well, I think what you really have to look at from the Giants side is getting this offensive line in sync so they can protect Eli, dominate the line of scrimmage. They've got to have all the auditions complete from the Ravens side. Linebacker, they got to find another linebacker. Their secondary play had holes in it last year, and getting these new receivers in sync.
2nd and 5 for the Giants. Many reasons to buy a Toyota. Now's the perfect time during Toyota's national clearance event. Manning on a little check down has the first down to Steve Smith. Chris Carr on the tackle for Baltimore. Steve Smith, Pro Bowler last year, the first Giants Pro Bowl wide receiver since Homer Jones. 107 catches, obliterating the Giants' single-season record.
He's done a good job of filling some of the voids left by Amani Toomer and Plaxico Burress.
So the Giants get their first down of the evening on their 2nd offensive possession. Bradshaw, the tailback. Bear Pasco in motion. Manning on the play fake, under some pressure. Now throws the deep post down the middle of the field, and the pass incomplete. Steve Smith had some room, but the timing of the play messed up by the pressure.
Well, Eli saw it, but he led him a little too much there. He was under duress. Good job by Eli stepping in the pocket here. Here he is. It's a long developing play, and he's going to bend it here to the middle of the field. Eli leads him a little too far, though. The ball's way out here.
So 2nd and 10 for the Giants. And Manning, who throws a wonderful deep middle football. Bradshaw, the tailback. Ravens show blitz. Bradshaw with Ray Lewis in pursuit, avoids that tackle, takes on Zibikowski, and has a Giants first down after a gain of 12.
That's just great individual effort there. He was stopped dead in the hole, 3 yards short, hits the brakes, gives him an old playground move here. Here he sees the blitz coming, gets the ball, stops, and just squirts back out there. Now that's just all good running by Ahmad Bradshaw. He runs so physical for a guy his size. Never shies away from contact.
Ray Lewis just couldn't catch him, and then Zibikowski was no match for Bradshaw. Brandon Jacobs in a tailback as Smith goes in motion. The receiver screen, Akeem Nicks picks up nearly 10.
Again, something the Giants love about Akeem Nicks, his physicality, but his run after catch. He is a guy who's explosive. Here he is. He can play physical and makes a guy miss. And now he's getting another 7-8 yards out of this one.
We saw Nicks make a lot of big plays last year for the Giants. 2nd and 1 on a drive that started back at the Giants 11.
It's Jacobs here. I'm sure the Ravens are expecting him to get the ball on this tough yard.
Manning will throw instead. Has some time and had Smith, but couldn't find him.
Well, you know, being 1 yard on 2nd down, it's basically the quarterback's choice. It's a run pass down, and the defense is kind of in a bind there. They don't know whether or not to keep their big people on the field or try to defend one, and that was kind of that throwaway play that Eli was trying to get one on him.
You know, Manning has not gotten the usual amount of snaps that he gets in preseason. Came out of the Jet game with that injury, sat last week.
Here we are, short yardage here, and it's Bradshaw and not Jacobs here on 3rd down. Run pass option.
Draw play, Bradshaw trying to find his way through a crease, and does, and gets the first down to the 46. Not a lot of running room, but the elusiveness of Bradshaw, Carl, made that play happen.
Well, it's because he has the ability to make himself small. He can duck down here. Here you are. It's just a play. It looks like it's going to break down here. Here's Bradshaw. Little motion there. They hand him the ball. He just gets down here low so they can't find him, ducking and dodging in there, and he finds enough room for the first down.
Fresh set of downs for the Giants with just about 4.5 to go here in the first. Manning over the head of Jacobs and incomplete. Well, for more on Ahmad Bradshaw, we sent it down to Bruce Beck.
You know, Bob, Bradshaw is healthy. That's the big thing, coming off the foot and the ankle surgeries in the offseason. He's having an excellent camp. He had the 51-yard pass reception against the Jets, the 9-yard touchdown run against Pittsburgh, and the main thing he says is he's healthy. He feels like he can do it all game long. Bob and Carl?
Well, the Giants are going to need him to be explosive this year, along with the power of Jacobs. 2nd and 10. Smith split to the bottom of the screen. Jacobs will get the run. Jacobs has a first down and more. Inside the 30, pinballing his way to the 23-yard line. Got his shoulders square, Carl, and when he does, you get a gain of 30.
Well, here's a guy that gets his shoulder square. It's on an outside run here. Little stretch play here. He squares the shoulders there, and now he's downhill running like a tractor. Look at that. No one wants to tackle him there. You'll see a quick turn now. It's an effort here. Guy diving at his ankles there, makes him miss. Another guy diving, and it takes Ray Lewis to bring him down.
Boy, Bear Pasco at the tight end spot gave a nice seal block to help spring that thing. Bradshaw back in. Manning to throw to the outside, completes it to the 15-yard line. Akeem Nicks with his 2nd catch of the ball game, gain of 9.
Giants offense seemed to have found a rhythm here, Bob, both run and pass. It's amazing what you can do when you can get positive yardage on first down.
They've used the run and the pass effectively here on this drive.
Second down and 1. I mean, that's what every offensive coordinator dreams about and every defensive coordinator's nightmare.
11th play of the drive coming up for the Giants. Bradshaw, the tailback. Bradshaw picking his way near the first down. Might be just a bit short. Oh, he saw Jacobs with a 30-yard run. Bradshaw had a nice run. 2009, you see the numbers. 3.7 for Jacobs, 4.8 for Bradshaw. Productive, but not Giant-like.
Well, it's 1,600 yards between the two of them. I'm sure the Giants would love to have these guys at about 2,000 yards as a group.
As they did 2 years ago with Brandon Jacobs and Derek Ward. Jacobs on the sideline on a 3rd and less than 1. Bradshaw did not get the first down. No gain on the play.
Well,
Vargas Gooden came up to get a hit.
Yeah, that right side of their offensive line just got pushed back there.
See, Eli Manning is motioning to Tom Coughlin. Let's go for it. Come on. 3rd preseason game. Coughlin keeps Lawrence Tynes on the sideline.
1 yard, but it's been a long 1 yard since first down.
And the Giants shift personnel. Hedgecock comes out. Bear Pasco comes in.
This will tell you a lot about the personality of this offense.
Play clock down to 7. Bradshaw, the tailback, takes a dive up the middle, and he did not get the first down. Giant offensive line got pushed off the ball.
Eli wanted to make a statement.
Let's take a look, though, at something the Giants won't love, getting stopped on 4th and less than 1.
Well, 3 downs to get 1 yard. Here you'll have a double team here. You have a single here. He's got to beat the guy and just plow through now. Seibert gets pushed back there a little bit, but he's got to get that shoulder down and plow through. It's him versus the linebacker for that 1 tough yard.
So he should have stayed more behind the guard and tackle.
Then follow that double team.
So the Ravens will take over at their own 15-yard line, up 3-0. Flacco will throw again. Anquan Bolden nearly ran out of a Johnson tackle, picks up 11 on the play. Such a good physical wide receiver in Anquan Bolden.
You know, the one thing that every scout and every coach will tell you, aside from being physical, he doesn't drop footballs.
3-time Pro Bowler with the Arizona Cardinals. Flacco to throw again on a 1st and 10. Flacco, Clayton has a first down in front of Courtney Brown. Gain of 20.
Those are the passes that will drive the coordinator crazy here. You can live with the 5 and even the 10-yarders. You can't give up 20-yard plays there, and it just looks like the defensive back there, Brown, gave up on the play.
Giants are thin at the cornerback with Ross hurt with that Achilles and plantar fasciitis, actually, is his injury. As Flacco completes one to midfield for a gain of 3.
And nearly got that one intercepted. Corey Webster, a guy who's always been criticized for his focus. I think the tempo of this game has really gotten his awareness up. He's been around everything thrown at him.
17 pass plays and 1 run for the Ravens. Mentioned the plantar fasciitis for Ross, and then Terrell Thomas with a calf injury, so the Giants are thin. Flacco under some pressure, completes it to the near sideline. Mason working on Johnson, rolls to the Giants 39, gain of 11.
Giving them up in big yardage, big chunks there. You can't defend that way. Now, Justin Tuck was right at the feet of Joe Flacco. They've got to get tighter coverage here. I know they don't want to get beat deep, but know where the sticks are.
And that'll be the final play of the first quarter, as the Baltimore Ravens, a team known for their running, playing fast break football here at M&T Bank Stadium. Giants have a couple of sacks. Ravens have a field goal and lead it 3-0. Giants 3-0 as we get set for the start of the second quarter. We take a look at the Hyundai quarterback comparison. Manning 4 of 8 for 29 yards. Flacco 9 of 14 for 103. He has been sacked twice as the Ravens have gone no huddle. People are talking about Hyundai uncensored. See what they're saying at Hyundai.com. Ravens will start the second quarter at the Giants' 39-yard line and a 1st and 10. Flacco sets up the screen. Well designed for Rice, and he picks up 12 before he gets knocked down by Jonathan Goff.
That's a well-designed screen there because they flooded that area of the field with receivers, and you got your linebackers running off here, something there, and then there's a wall set up in front of Rice there.
The lineman didn't even have anybody to block. Ray Rice fights his way to the Giant 20-yard line. Nice pickup on the play of 7 for Ray Rice. In his 3rd year out of Rutgers, Linval Joseph got a hand on him. You know, Tom Coughlin was kind of hoping that the Ravens would play to sort of the form that they played last year, to identify the run defense and see which guys could stop the run. It's been all pass for the Ravens for the most part. McClain on the inside, roll on the tackle.
Well, it looks like the strategy here was to get the Giants a little winded there, running around, and then pound them with the running game.
Gain of 4 for LaRon McClain and a 1st down for the Ravens. Now Baltimore in the red zone last year. The Giants had the worst red zone defense in the NFL. Tonight they held the Ravens to 3. Flacco's pass batted away by Corey Webster, intended for Clayton.
Corey's playing a very good game thus far at the cornerback position. Everything they've had his way, he's had a say in it. There he is. Most thought he was a guy that was drafted lower but would play at a higher level, and he's starting to do that.
Second and 10 for the Ravens at the 16. Little draw for Rice. Nifty move takes it inside the 10 to the Giants' 8-yard line.
Good play calling again by Joe Flacco. You'll see here the Giants get caught in a man-to-man defense on the outside, and you got the single linebacker there in the middle. He runs himself out of the play, and good smart running by Rice there.
Kenny Phillips made the tackle. Phillips is going to get some more snaps tonight. Rice not able to pick up the 1st down. Antrell Roll on the tackle. So the Ravens face a 4th down. Last season the Giants 13th in total defense, 30th in the league in points per game allowed, 18th in sacks, 22nd in interceptions, and I mentioned last in the red zone. Ravens are going to go for it here on 4th and 2. Rice the tailback, Bolden in motion. Play clock at 9 for Flacco. He has time. He'll throw. Bolden, touchdown. Beat Courtney Brown on a 4th and 2. 9-yard touchdown pass.
Little play action slant there. It is going to fake a little handoff, a little pump fake there, I'm sorry, and then he comes back to the other side with a quick slant. Just a little stab move there. Brown never had a chance on it.
Well, you know what? Courtney Brown was beaten so badly, Carl, that it wasn't even a great throw by Flacco. It was behind Bolden, but Brown was so far off the mark that Bolden made the adjustment for the touchdown.
Yeah, it's just that's no match for Anquan Bolden.
Well, Joe Flacco and the Ravens went for it, and it pays dividends. Miss your favorite NBC primetime show. You can watch them right now on our new digital channel, New York Nonstop. Find New York Nonstop on these channels on your local cable provider. Bob Papa, Carl Banks, Howard Cross, Bruce Beck back in Baltimore. The New York Giants trailing the Ravens. Carl, let's take a look at Courtney Brown. He makes a bad mistake.
Well, he gets a stick move there, never moves his feet. And then, let's be honest, it's a mismatch to begin with. It's not even fair. If you have Thomas or Ross out there, it would be a better matchup, but he's got to take something away there. He gave him a two-way go, and a player like Bolden will take it every time and take you to school.
Wasn't even a good throw by Flacco. Then he made the adjustment. Tim Brown out to the 23-yard line. Call it the 24. Edgar Jones on the tackle. 21-yard return. Johnson try to get some offense going. Down by 7 here in the second. On top of everything, Big Blue with Giants Insider. We'll preview the upcoming game, go one-on-one with Coach Coughlin as he breaks down game film and gets exclusive access with your favorite players. It's Giants Insider every Saturday night at 7 p.m. here on NBC4 New York. Giants head coach Tom Coughlin on the Giants' last offensive possession went for it on 4th and 1, could not convert, and the Ravens take it downfield, convert on a 4th and 2 with a 9-yard touchdown pass. Manning, Bradshaw on the screen. Bradshaw trying to find some space, cannot, picks up a yard, and that's it. Chris Carr on the tackle.
Bradshaw's got good vision. He tried to squirt back against the grain, getting the defense going one way, but they were too disciplined to allow it to happen. But I tell you, on that 4th and 1, you have to remember that started at 2nd and 1, and that's disappointing to have 3 downs to get 1 yard and you can't get it.
2nd and 9. Boss in motion. Brandon Jacobs trying to find a crease off the edge, picks up a couple to the 29-yard line. Tackle made by Jarrett Johnson, the 8th-year pro out of Alabama. Jacobs had a nice 30-yard run in the first quarter that helped the Giants on their last drive. So 3rd and 5 for the Giants, Carl, and Tom Coughlin said he wants to see some productivity, some good continuity. Let's see if the Giants can move the chains here. Manning to throw. Over the middle, Steve Smith with a first down. Carr knocks him down at the 47-yard line. And that's a Giants first down after a gain of 18.
You know, one of the other words Tom Coughlin used was execution. Here you see it, a good route by Steve Smith running across the middle, and again a very good pass by Eli, one of his favorite throws.
And it should be noted that Adam Coates is in at center right now for the Giants. They've moved Soybert over to the left guard position, and Adam Coates is in at center. Some of the Tom Coughlin said he's really liked the progress that he's made here in the preseason.
He likes his power.
So they've got Deal at left tackle, Soybert at left guard, Snee at right guard. Jacobs on the carry. Picks up 1.5 yards, and that's about it. Sent it down to the sideline, and Bruce back.
You know, I talked to Kevin Gilbride right before the game, and he said this offense needs reps with all the injuries on the offensive line, the fact that Eli has played very little, the fact that the receivers have all been nicked up. This is what he wants. He wants downs, he wants reps, he wants a chance for this offense to gel because they just haven't been out there very much this entire preseason, guys.
Yeah, and you know, Adam Coates has gotten a lot of reps at center with O'Hara in and out of the lineup, and this is a good experience for him with Snee and Soybert to his right and left respectively. 2nd and 9 for Manning. Underneath for Akeem Nicks into Ravens territory at the 48-yard line. Gain of 4 on the play. Fabian Washington on the tackle.
Bob, you talk about guys getting more reps. You don't have a lot of the starters have missed all of camp basically, so you have a lot of guys getting reps, which, you know, will add to the experience, but I'm sure they want to get their #1 guys back in there so that they can develop that cohesion and the chemistry needed.
3rd and 4. Bradshaw to the left of Manning. And now we get a whistle, and we get a timeout Ravens with 8:45 to go here in the second quarter. With that said, we'll step aside. Ravens with a 10-0 lead over the Giants. Big 3rd down coming up for Eli Manning. And the look at the Inner Harbor here in Baltimore with M&T Bank Stadium and Camden Yards right next to each other. Beautiful place in the summertime. 3rd and 4 for the Giants, down 10-0 here in the second. Manning through the hands of Nicks, read perfectly by Fabian Washington. He was right there to make a tackle anyway. Let's check in with Howard Cross.
You know, guys, with Kareem McKenzie going down with migraines, we get another look at Will Beatty tonight. You know, the guy who has a lot of athletic ability. He can get around the field a lot, but we've been worried about his, you know, point of attack blocks. And tonight we've seen a little, you know, softness there when they're coming to the edge. That 3rd and 1 a couple times and 2nd and 1, they could have went to his side. If Kareem McKenzie had been there, a bigger body, it may have worked.
So the Giants fail in the 3rd and 4. Dodge to punt. Stallworth, the right sideline, gets crunched on the play by Madison Hedgecock and a host of others along with Zach Diassi. Ravens in front by 10 here in the 2nd in Baltimore. New faces of the game. Philip Dillard vying for a role in this ball club. Matt Dodge, who takes over for Jeff Feagles. Jason Pierre-Paul, the 1st-round draft pick, will not play tonight. Keith Bullock competing at the outside linebacker spot, and 2 new safeties in Deion Grant and Antrell Roll. Continental Airlines, the official airline of the New York Giants. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. Throw Sean Andrews' name on that list. Bullock in the ball game for the Giants. Flacco and the Ravens on a 1st and 10. They'll throw again. Ray Rice, middle of the field, dives up near the 30-yard line and picks up 7 on the play. Jonathan Goff there to make a hit on Ray Rice.
And Brandon Jacobs here trying to get the guys fired up on the offensive front. They've got to get more consistent. And I suspect it's a component of all the different moving parts on that offensive line.
2nd and 3. Flacco, Mason in front of Webster, and a 1st down. Carl, let me ask you this. There's a flag on the play as well, so we'll check the flag before I ask my question. Gene Steratore, outstanding referee, working tonight's ball game.
Illegal formation, offense. Number 74 was the widest man uncovered on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
It's Michael Orr, who the book and movie Blindside was based upon.
Here he is at the top of the screen here. Seems like there was another player outside of him.
It was the tight end.
That's the tight end, must have been off the line maybe.
So negate the pass play. 2nd and 8 for Flacco. Again, Mason wide open underneath, and Mason easily picks up the 1st down. It's a gain of 10. Well, that leads me to the question, Carl, that I wanted to ask you. Sure, the Giants aren't game planning for the Baltimore Ravens, but it seems like in the preseason, teams have been able to hit 2nd and 3rd and longs against the Giants like they did last year. The middle of the field seems wide open.
Yeah, it's about execution. Here it is again, right in the middle of the zone there.
He to the Giant 44-yard line.
And I'll tell you, the best way to stop that, especially with a tight end, is to get a hand on him. Here's Heath here. And you'll see him. He just goes right down the field here and settles. No one puts a hand on him. Runs by the linebacker. Jonathan Goff has to develop the instincts in the feel of knowing where guys are in the zone defense.
That time Mason made a catch and Bruce Johnson made a tackle after a gain of 1.
You know,
Carl, it's a recurring theme from last year, though.
Well, yeah, and what you have to do when you're playing zone defense, understand that there are windows in that zone that quarterbacks will throw to, and they'll look you out of that window, and if you're not disciplined enough, you'll find yourself drifting and a ball will be caught where you should be. It takes a great deal of discipline to be effective as a zone defensive team.
2nd and 9. Run a little draw. The Ron McClain submarine by Kenny Phillips lost the football, but the Ravens recover it at the Giants' 35-yard line. Good to see Kenny Phillips back in action.
Yeah, let's take a look here. The Giants, you've got Matthias Kiwanuka up the field, and
Bernard missed the tackle. Phillips made the tackle. Now the Ravens going with a quick snap. And they lose a couple yards on the play as Flacco and the offense not able to get the snap correct.
Got another 4th and short here.
Ravens are going to go for it with 5:30 to go. On their last 4th and 2 at the Giants 9, Flacco threw a 9-yard touchdown pass to Anquan Bolden.
Going 4 wides here. They got to be aware.
Flacco, heat, piece of cake, first down. Ran a slant, and he beat Antrell Roll.
You got to know where the sticks are, and you got to defend from the inside there. Just a quick slant. Everybody on a slant. That's the one play you have to defend. Tight end on safety. Safety should be able, especially a safety of Antrell Roll's ability, should be able to stop that one. It's not Labor Day yet, but it seems like these receivers are taking the defensive backs to school here.
So the Ravens connect on a 4th and 2 again. Ray Rice hit and dropped by Michael Bully for a loss of a yard. Let's go down to the field and Howard Cross.
Guys, if you notice they're doing the quick strike offense for the Ravens, that no huddle thing. The other night, Peyton Manning was complaining that the referees were not getting out of the way in time enough for him to snap the ball. You saw it a couple times there where they tried to do the quick snap on the 3rd and 1 to get the ball across the line. I'm wondering how that's working out for him.
Yeah, with the umpire now stationed in the offensive backfield, created quite a few problems. Pass over the middle from Mason incomplete. So you've got the umpire lined up in the backfield. His job is to spot the ball. Obviously, it caused tremendous problems in that Colts game the other night as the umpire was getting in the way, especially if you go hurry up.
And here you got the 2 guys here.
And has not been met favorably by a lot of the coaches, this new setup, because spotting the ball is going to be a little bit more difficult in hurry up. Flacco, Clayton, incomplete, flag on the play. Roll is going to get flagged
for hitting a defenseless receiver there.
That's part of the new rule. You cannot hit with the shoulder, the helmet, anywhere in the upper torso.
That looked like a bang-bang play. I'm not so sure it was a defenseless. The ball was just out of there. That's an interesting call there.
Personal foul. Defense, number 26, hit on a defenseless receiver. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Oh, that's one of the new rules.
He's coming over. Boy,
You can't deliver a blow to the upper torso, anywhere in the head area, even if it's with your shoulder.
I mean, the ball's just out of there, but he's ruled a defenseless. And I agree with the spirit of that call. You don't want guys hanging out there getting pounded on.
And that was something that in the offseason was put in by the competition committee, that you cannot hit a defenseless receiver with your shoulder, your elbow, your forearm, obviously not your helmet. And Roll gets flagged for it. 10 years ago, good play. 2010, not allowed. Flacco on a 1st and 10 to the end zone. Heat, touchdown. Beat Roll. There is a flag on the play.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 26. Penalty is declined. Result of the play. Touchdown.
Not a good series for Antrell Roll.
Yeah, let's find Heat here. He's on the outside of the defense there. He just runs a little seam route, and Roll doesn't have any answer for it. This is 2 times in a row. You get caught in the blitz doesn't get there, but you have to have yourself in position to make a play in case the blitz doesn't get there.
Heat 5 catches, 64 yards. And Cundiff knocks through the extra point. So Todd Heap had his way with Antrell Roll on that series, and he caps it off with a touchdown pass. Ravens by game on NBC4 New York is brought to you locally by Toyota. There are many reasons to buy a Toyota. Now's the perfect time to get yours during Toyota's national clearance event. And by Lowe's. Lowe's, let's build something together. Back in Baltimore, Ravens lead the Giants 17-0 here in the second. Don't forget, next Thursday night, more Giants preseason action. Big Blue back to the New Meadowlands Stadium to face the New England Patriots. That's next Thursday night at 7 p.m. right here on NBC4 New York. Back-to-back touchdown drives. Antrell Roll got picked on by Todd Heap, including the 13-yard touchdown pass. Andre Brown fumbles the kickoff, and he'll dive out to the 12-yard line. He has been shaky on kickoff returns so far for the Giants. So Eli Manning comes back out. You see Manning is wearing a different helmet. I was talking with equipment director Joe Skiba in the locker room. It's a bigger size helmet with a different shape.
Yeah, it's got that big crown on it now.
It's a bigger shell. Inside it's a little bit bigger, but what they've done is they've made it air to fit, in which they can pump air in. They've also changed the two side jaw guards, and you see the straps for the chin strap. It's a new chin strap that's much deeper, that fits around his chin so that it can't roll up as it did in that Jets game. Right through the hands of Jacobs, and incomplete. Now Eli's old model of the helmet is just like the one that Lawrence Tynes wears. You can see it's a much smaller shell. Doesn't mean that Manning will not go back to his regular helmet at some point, but they had to find the right helmet in which the padding inside did not rub or put pressure against where he suffered the cut that required 12 stitches so it would reopen. And Manning able to take the helmet on and off easily, and no pressure on that cut area. Jacobs on a 2nd and 10. Picks up a yard, and that's it. Carl, how concerned right now should Tom Coughlin be based on the fact that the Ravens have passed the ball down the field on the Giants pretty effortlessly, and other than that one drive where the Giants failed on a 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, and 4th and 1, could not convert, they really have not moved the ball effectively.
Well, the preseason is over with effectively after this game. They've got some work to do between the end of this game, well, during this game until the beginning of the regular season.
Jacobs and Bradshaw in the backfield at the same time. On a 3rd and long, Manning under pressure, sacked, back of the 1-yard line. Chris Carr on the corner blitz.
Another reason for concern there, they're just not holding up front. I think it's a function, I really do believe it's a function of not having the pieces in place. They show a blitz there, low snap. Guy coming off the corner there to tackle Will Beatty never looks outside. You got to be able to count outside in. You can't sleep well if you're Tom Coughlin, knowing that your quarterback's going to be under duress and you're missing assignments up front.
See Jacobs and Bradshaw talking about the assignment that they should have had. They had both guys in the game at the same time. Howard Cross, you're down on the field. You played the position on the offensive line as a tight end in the blocking scheme. What transpired on that last play?
Basically what happened on the last play, he brought the cornerback on the inside and the safety on the edge. The tight end, not the tight end, but the tackle, because Beatty's about my size, unfortunately, nowadays. He should have played to the outside. He steps down inside, then he's got to look back quickly to pick up that guy. That time Beatty wasn't doing that. He stayed inside too long, and by the time he got his head around, the smaller cornerback had come in to make the play.
There's Will Beatty there. Young, promising prospect, but he's got to come of age because there may be a call to action soon if they can't get this offensive line healthy. And once you're in there, you're expected to play at a very high level, both mentally and physically.
Yep.
So Dodge backed up deep on a 4th and 20. Good high punt that will send Stallworth back to his 35. He muffs it, picks it up at the 24. Stallworth trying to get to the outside, does, skips out of bounds near the 40-yard line. Carl, we'll take another look at what Howard was talking about as far as the protections.
You'll see all of the pressure coming from the outside here, and they had a back and a tackle. That would be Bradshaw and Beatty there to pick up. It's 2 guys on 2 guys. Beatty never never took his guy. Bradshaw took the other one. Can't have a no-hitter on your quarterback.
Big punt by Dodge, but then Stallworth, who muffed it, was able to pick it up and make something out of it. Flacco. Rice beat Goff. Big gain to the Giant 40, gain of 18.
Giants are lined up in man-to-man coverage. They went empty formation. I tell you, school's not supposed to start till after Labor Day. Maybe it started early here in Baltimore because they're just taking the Giants to school here in the passing game.
I know, Carl, that you don't game plan in these games. It looks like the Ravens game plan
Well,
perfectly.
no, what it comes down to, Bob, is if you're in man coverage, you have to play your technique. If there's no game plan, it's just like a practice drill. Play the technique. If you're supposed to be inside out on a guy on red zone areas, Justin Tuck is down.
Tuck is down, and Tuck is hurt. And he's calling for help.
Favoring his right side there.
Right arm, shoulder. Remember, Tuck last year in the Giants' second game of the season down at the new Cowboys Stadium got tripped by Flozell Adams, injured his shoulder, and had to play through it all year and was not nearly as effective. That is a big concern right there. Second down for Flacco. Pass deflected and incomplete, intended for Heath. Brian Keel on the coverage.
Well, I tell you, that one was on Joe Flacco. They'll look at the film on that one, and Heath was open a couple of times before Flacco went back to him. He had Keel beat off the snap and on the first cut there.
Flacco on a third down, middle of the field. Bolden right near the first down marker. Going to be close. Again, exploiting the middle of the Giants defense. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. After a good first series by the Giants defense, it's been easy pickings for the Ravens offense. They lead it by 7. Carl, let's take a look at Justin Tuck.
Yeah, he just comes through here and put a little pressure on the quarterback. Really can't see. Gets a hand on the quarterback there, and now he's falling down. Looks like he lands awkwardly on that right hand there.
Well, as you can see, Dr. Russ Warren and the Giants medical staff attending to Tuck. They were working on his right hand and checking his right hand. And that's the good news, because Tuck last year was not the same player after he suffered that shoulder injury. You see them kind of working on his hand. He put the glove back on and he's coming back in.
There he is, back in there.
So that is a big sigh of relief for the New York Giants and all their Giants fans. Let's go down to Bruce Beck for more on number 91.
Well, Bob, the good news is he came off the field writhing in pain, and now he has split ways with Dr. Russell Warren. I saw him get taped up, 2 fingers next to the thumb. They kind of put the 2 fingers together, and Tuck walked away and put the glove back on his right hand, and he was explaining to teammates what had happened. So I don't know the extent, but I do know that he's feeling a lot better, at least, and it looks like they just taped those 2 fingers to try to keep it immobilized.
Carl, you played defense in the NFL for a long time, won 2 Super Bowls at a high level. Those are things that football players just deal with on a weekly basis, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, especially when you're playing with your hand in the dirt all the time, you're going to get them banged up a bit. Here's a 4th down play, short yardage.
Bolden was just short, 4th and inches. Flacco will keep it, and he moves the pile forward enough to have a first down for the Ravens. With 1:53 to go here in the first half.
Tell you, when they look at this film here, they won't be happy. And one of the goals for this game was to establish the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and I don't think they've done a very good job of it.
Other than the first series, where the Giants picked up a couple of sacks. Flacco with some time, middle of the field. Rice bobbled it and couldn't reel it in. He was open, Carl.
Well, he had the young Jonathan Goff there, leaks out of the backfield on just a little shoot route. Goff was stuck in no man's land. Here he is. He's in a chase position right there. Finding the advantages and the disadvantages here has been a pretty good deal for Joe Flacco. He's found the mismatch.
215 yards. Ravens have 1 timeout remaining. Nobody open for Flacco. Under some pressure. Sidearms it incomplete. See the arm strength of Flacco, intended for Mason. Running to his left, he could just flick it and get it in the vicinity of the receiver. Now, Carl, we talked about the umpire in the offensive backfield. Tonight is also an experiment. There's an 8th official on the field. They've added a deep judge. Number 27 to your left. Yeah, Lee Dwyer is back there with Dino Paganelli. They try to have more eyes downfield. Keep with the catch. Run out at the 23-yard line. Stops the clock with 1:10 to go. You know, Carl, I was talking with Gene Steratore before the game, and you know, with the way this game has become with such passing and so much downfield pressure, they're trying this deep judge out tonight to have another set of eyes back there, because sometimes the back judge can only go to one side of the field.
Yeah, and you get, you know, receivers on both sides, and there could be contact on the other side of the field, and you don't really know sometimes. I mean, last night in one of the games, they had an offsetting penalty on a deep route, a pass interference on both guys.
Yeah, that was in the Jets game against the Redskins.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 85, 15-yard penalty, 4th down.
Derek Mason called for the penalty. So rather than a 41-yard field goal, the Ravens will be marched back, and they'll spot the ball at the Giants' 38-yard line. So will they try a long field goal or send out the punting unit? A little confusion on the Ravens sideline with 1:10 to go here in the half. And now they'll punt it with Sam Cook. So an opportunity for points taken away from the Ravens by a foolish penalty.
It's been about the only thing that stopped them thus far.
So Cook to punt with 1:10 to go here in the first half. Reverse spin. Fair catch called for it, and it bounds into the end zone for a touchback. 38-yard punt, but a net of only 18. Well, coming September 9th, it's back to football. The party continues live from New Orleans. Drew Brees and the Super Bowl champion Saints take on Brett Favre and the Vikings. Sunday Night Football. Tony Romo and the Cowboys head to Washington to take on Donovan McNabb and the Redskins. It's NFL kickoff weekend, September the 9th, only on NBC. The Giants will be on Sunday Night Football in week number 2. It's Manning versus Manning. And when you talk about Brett Favre, the Mannings, as far as active leaders and consecutive starts by quarterbacks, Eli's got a long way to go.
Well, he's got a long time to get there if you want to catch Brett Favre. Yeah, he's about 12 seasons behind Favre.
Well, let's see what the Giants can do offensively. Only one good drive so far in this game. Manning under some pressure. Pass for Boss, incomplete. Manning took a hit from Terrell Suggs.
Offensive line, they've got to protect the quarterback here. They're just, here's the hit. They're just coming right up the middle there. Good push right in the middle there, coming off the edge. They've got to do a better job of solidifying the middle of that pocket.
3 consecutive incompletions by Manning. 3 of 14 for 51 yards. 7 of 14, excuse me. Bradshaw on a screen, trying to find some space. Takes it out to the 23. Jared Johnson on the tackle. Gain of 4. Giants will call a timeout with 46 seconds to go in the half. Well, in Eli Manning's rookie season, he had a chance to play in this stadium in a regular season game, and it's obviously early in his career, and it was a day to forget for Manning. Got picked off Giants not able to do a lot, and Manning would finish the game with a quarterback rating of 0. He went against some really tough defenses in his first starts. The Falcons had a good defense. The Steelers played the Ravens here in Baltimore. Eventually, though, Manning would get that first win in the regular season finale against the Dallas Cowboys and sort of set the table for he and Tom Coughlin in 4 consecutive playoff runs and a Super Bowl before missing the postseason last year. 3rd and 6 for the Giants. Manning with some time. Smith open. Smith lost the football, and it's intercepted by Nakamura.
That one was right in his hands. He's bobbling it on his way down, and Nakamura just jumps on top of him and takes it away.
But Tom Coughlin has to be livid with the Giants' focus here.
Very poor execution. Here Smith has the ball in his hands, and he just bobbles it. Good hustle by the defender going to the ball, taking it right away. Smith is normally a good, sure hands receiver. Hits him in both hands, and he just bobbles it there.
So Manning can't believe it. And the Giants turn it over. It's going to be an official review since we are under 2 minutes and a half, 37 seconds to go. So Gene Steratore was buzzed and said, let's take a closer look at this. Carl, you know, Smith's open in the middle of the field, throws a little low, but Steve Smith's got to make that catch and not potentially have a turnover here.
He does. It's a 2-minute drill. He hits him in the hands. He's got to stay focused on the ball there. Here he is.
Well, the ball was tipped.
Both hands on the ball there, though.
So it looked like one of the linebackers, get another look at it, the last second deflected it just a little bit, and it hit Smith in the leg. They're using Ravens television. Obviously, this is not a national game. It's going locally. So they'll take a look at the Baltimore TV feeds. They got a pretty good look at it. Looks like it should be a good interception. Manning's throw again.
Here's another angle
Yeah,
at
it does get tipped by Donnell Ellerbe, the linebacker, which changed the direction, and there is Nakamura.
I guess they're trying to see if that ball hit the ground.
Can't tell from that angle because Nakamura is out of the picture. And then Bradshaw brought him down. The one replay angle that we looked at looked like Nakamura was able to control it.
Yeah.
But Ellerbe, you know, changed the fortunes of that play.
And that was one of the areas that they talked about the Ravens that they had to get better at, was their middle of the field defense too. He got just a little hand on it, but Smith, it hits him in both hands there, Bob. He's got to pull that one in.
Ball bounded off Smith's leg. You can't tell from that angle, it's behind the play. One of the angles that we saw from Ravens TV was from the other end zone. It looked like Nakamura kept it off the ground. So Gene Steratore will give us the ruling.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is an interception. 1st and 10, Baltimore.
Well, Donnell Ellerbe helped make that play by redirecting the Manning pass. And then Smith couldn't reel it in at the last second, and Nakamura gets the interception. So a miserable first half for the Giants just got worse. So now the Ravens trying to build upon a 17-point lead. Flacco gets sacked for the 3rd time. Tuck gets his 2nd.
Well, that's a good cure for a porous defensive backfield. It's a good pass rush. Here's Tuck. Fast off the ball here.
Carl, it's one of the lone bright spots here tonight for the Giants is Justin Tuck.
Well, they've had the ability to move the pocket and really penetrate there, but behind them, these guys have to have better coverage.
Hey, primetime fans, don't miss your favorite NBC primetime show. You can watch them right now on our new digital channel, New York Nonstop. Find New York Nonstop on these channels on your local cable provider. So Tuck gets his second sack of the ball game. Ravens use their last timeout with 32 seconds to go in the half. 2nd and 17. Flacco, fastball, intercepted. Giants turn him right back over. Corey Webster looking for room. Webster trying to pick up a block. Webster finally run out of bounds by Mason. Return of 37 yards. So now with 16 seconds to go in the half, the Giants turn Baltimore back over.
Good job by Webster. Let's take a look here.
Flacco had a little bit of pressure.
Yep, under duress a bit. Ball's tipped. There's Webster there. Johnny on the spot, and then some good running here trying to get the ball into the end zone.
Carl, some of that pressure that was coming from Flacco's front side forced him to slide over, and it took a little of the accuracy off his throw.
Good pass rush. Johnny on the spot there, Corey Webster. He's been around the ball a lot today.
Deion Grant was on the coverage on the ball thrown behind Mason. So with 16 seconds to go and 2 timeouts, Giants have it at the Ravens 32. Manning to Smith. Ducks down at the 25-yard line. The Giants will call a timeout with 8 seconds to go in the half. So with 1 timeout in the pocket, to see if the Giants take a crack at the end zone or maybe try a safe play here, Carl, and
get a little
closer for Tynes.
Yeah.
You know, the Giants had a 4th and less than 1 deep in Ravens territory in the first quarter. They elected to go for it and were stopped. That's the best drive that the Giants have had throughout the course of the game. 9 seconds to go. Put a second back on the clock. Ravens lead at 17-0. Giants offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride trying to get a positive going into the locker room at the half. Boss and Bradshaw in the backfield with Manning. Manning to the end zone, intended for Nix, who was double covered. Carr and Zibikowski on the coverage. 4 seconds to go, and the Giants will send out the field goal unit.
Here's a look here now. They had everybody blocked up front. 1-man route. Good coverage. Eli threw it to the corner of the end zone, the only place he could have there. And
does Keem Nix need to dig harder to that back flag?
They had him bracketed. The cornerback would have been right there at the flag.
42-yard field goal for Lawrence Tynes on what should be the final play of the first half. Dodge to hold. Dodge gets the high snap down. Tynes' kick is on its way, and it's good inside the left upright. So the Corey Webster interception enabled the Giants to get 3 on the final play of the first half. But lots of things that Tom Coughlin cannot be pleased about at the end of the first half at M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens lead the Giants 17-3. Stay tuned for the Continental Halftime Show with Bruce Beck. You're watching New York Giants football on NBC4 New York. Center, which is not his natural position. They got Wimper out. They moved Soybert over. Coates came in at the center spot. Beatty started at right tackle because McKenzie had a migraine before the game. But that is an area, if this team is going to be physical, they've got to get that shored up with O'Hara on the shelf through the preseason. Tim Brown, the rookie out of Rutgers, on the return. Tripped up at the 21-yard line. And that's where the Giants will start 1st and 10 as Rhett Bomar will come in at quarterback. So Manning's night is done, 9 of 18 for 63 yards. Bomar played the whole way against Pittsburgh last week. 13 of 26 and the interception. Let's take a look at the Giants offensive line because they've made changes there. Beatty is now at left tackle for the Giants. Sean Andrews at left guard. Coates is the center. Petrus is the right guard, and I believe Jacob Bender is the right tackle. Hakeem Nicks, ball hit the ground, incomplete on the first throw by Bomar. It is Jacob Bender at the right tackle spot for the Giants. So shuffling of the deck of that offensive line. We'll keep our eye, Carl, on number 73, Sean Andrews, the 3-time Pro Bowler, former Philadelphia Eagle and first-round draft pick, will be at left guard.
Well, you got to believe that this guy, a 3-time Pro Bowler, is not here just wasting time as a backup. He's young enough, and if he's into it, I see him making his way into that lineup to make some solid contributions in the run game.
Brandon Jacobs with a nice run as a flag flies out to the 35-yard line. And we'll check the call. I'll tell you, here's Gene Steratore with the call.
Illegal motion, offense, number 65, going from a 2-point stance to a 3-point stance. During the snap, it's a 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's Will Beatty.
Here's Beatty here on the right of the screen. He goes down into a 3-point stand here. Then he jumps up. I don't know where he jumped up. He just kind of beat the snap, I guess.
Well, the fact that he came set in a 2-point stance and then went down to 3 on the snap of the ball, can't do that. Interesting for Andrews on that last play. He was matched up right against Haloti Ngata. Good way to come back into the NFL. Nice slant throw by Bomar to Steve Smith. A gain of 16 and a first down.
I'll tell you what, I just looked at him again. Here's Smith here, but Sean Andrews again, he fired off, got a good snap. That's a good route here coming up by Smith. A little slant here, right into the window between the two defenders, and then he runs after catch. Good job.
We'll kind of keep our eye. I know Cross will be watching closely on Sean Andrews. Jacobs again turns his shoulders upfield and picks up 5 on first down.
Well, Andrews continues to show up in the frame here. You'll see him blocking his guy all the way to the other side of the field there.
Sean Andrews, 6'4", 335 pounds, 27 years of age. Haloti Ngata, Pro Bowler last year, one of the better 3-4 defensive linemen in the NFL. There's no better way to get a test than going against that. Jacobs nowhere to run, lowers his shoulder and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Chris Carr on the tackle. Ravens keeping their starting defense in for the most part here in the third quarter.
Giants here in a manageable 3rd and 5. Long 5, but it's
not 3rd and 17 or 3rd and 20 they faced in the first half. Bomar from the gun gets plastered and the pass is incomplete. They sent the linebacker Donnell Ellerbe.
Another no-hitter on the right side of that line there. Boy, he just came unblocked. Now you have to tackle with one guy, but someone has to pick up the blitzer. Either that or Bomar has to know he's responsible for the loose guy.
Dodged to punt after the muff by Stallworth. It went for 74 yards. This one a low kick that is returnable. Zibikowski hit at the 24-yard line by Zach Diassi. 50-yard punt and a 10-yard return. Ravens in front here in the third. Returns next Saturday on NBC. The Brian Kelly era begins. Notre Dame Saturday, live next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, only on NBC as they take on the Purdue Boilermakers. A couple of proud Notre Dame alum, Justin Tuck, who left Notre Dame as their all-time sack leader, and Tom Zibikowski in his 3rd year out of Notre Dame, getting a lot of reps at safety with Ed Reed hurt. And congratulations to my buddy Mike Mayock, the new color analyst of Notre Dame football on NBC. He'll be teamed up with Tom Hammond. And you know he'll do a great job, and Alex Flanagan working the sidelines. Flacco still in as Laurent McClain took the carry for a loss of 2. Flacco in the first half, 20 of 32 for 220 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Still in the ballgame. Well, most teams want to keep their starters into the third quarter, get them used to playing in that second half.
Well, they've had a couple of phases here. They went through their fast break phase. Now they're kind of getting their running game going here, or trying.
Well, they got 46 plays in the first half. You'd think that'd be enough. Looking for more, and the pass incomplete. Wilkinson on the coverage of tight end Ed Dixon. Good-looking rookie out of Oregon is Dixon.
Well, I tell you, that's good-looking coverage there by Jarris Wilkinson. He's a guy who's very athletic, and Coach Coughlin talked about the different packages they could have with these linebackers. He's a really good athlete, been injury-prone, but one thing, he does operate well in space, and you can tell his relationship to the ball, the man, and the quarterback was pretty good there.
Ray Rice, the tailback for Flacco, on a 3rd and 11. False start on Michael Orr, the left tackle of the Ravens, number 74.
False start, offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Let's check in on the sideline with Howard Cross.
Guys, what the Ravens are doing here is they're trying to get their starters the feel of coming in after halftime back into the game to keep the flow of the game for them. Most teams used to do that for a long time. Now teams are pulling guys out trying to keep them healthy. But the Ravens seem to be a little more old school, even hitting in camp.
That's been sort of the mantra of John Harbaugh. A little bit different than the way Brian Billick ran it when he was the head coach. 3rd and 16. Dump it down underneath to Marcus Smith. Tackled well short of the sticks. Seth Williams with a nice open field tackle, and the Ravens will have to punt the football away. All right, we'll take a look at Joe Flacco after a 3-and-out on the first possession. 4th and 2, Anquan Bolden, touchdown. Derek Mason wide open. Todd Heap had one big series against Antrell Roll, including a touchdown catch right there on a slant. Good night for Flacco and the Ravens offense.
Well, he's got to feel good about the day he's had.
Cook with the punt. Manningham calls for a fair catch, and it bounced to the sidelines, and Ahmad Bradshaw, who fields it as the Giants continue looking for returners. Is Joe Flacco's night done? Giants back on up. Quarterbacks coach Jim Zorn and Joe Flacco discussing things with the Ravens up 17-3. Time for the Ford drive of the game. Ravens were up 3-0. Little draw to Ray Rice in the second quarter of play. Then on a 4th and 2, Anquan Bolden with the touchdown catch. That's the drive of the game, brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Drive one at your Tri-State Ford dealer today. Rhett Bomar, the Giants quarterback, here in the second half. Play fake. Has some time. Middle of the field, Derek Hagan makes the catch at the 45, then gets turned back. It's a first down after a gain of 11. You know, Carl, you get to this point in the preseason, the 3rd preseason game, short week. You're going to have to make some roster decisions. You know, Akeem Nixon, Mario Manningham, and Steve Smith are guys that are going to play central roles. Ramses Barton has a back injury. Don't know what his status will be. Sonoris Moss has been hurt for most training camp, or a lot of it, where he hasn't been able to get on the field and play in these games. Jacobs on the run, or excuse me, Andre Brown on the run, takes it up to the 49-yard line. Corey Redding on the hit. So it's kind of open. Hagan is a guy that plays good special teams. They lost Hickson, who was a good special teams player. But will they fill in a spot with Tim Brown or Victor Cruz, or does Moss make it yet again?
Well, here's the thing, Bob. When you're in the back end of a receiving corps, you normally have to be a pretty good special teams player, and that goes in the favor of Derek Hagan. But Victor Cruz is a guy they like because he catches the football. Now, Sonoris Moss is a guy who's tried to do everything that they've asked him to do, but he hasn't met the expectations of just purely wide receiver. So now, because a guy like Cruz,
the last season, this is the production from that group, and obviously they're going to need those guys to have outstanding seasons, but they want to get more of a consistent running game. But it'll be interesting to see with these young guys how they fill out the bottom of that rotation.
Here's Cruz just getting in the game here.
Last pass was intended for Manningham. Miscommunication with Bomar and Manningham on a 3rd down. Bomar waits too long and gets planted. Edgar Jones on the sack. Carl, it's pretty good coverage downfield.
Yeah, it was good coverage. You can say it's a coverage sack, but you know, Bomar's normally a guy who can sense the rush and escape there, but the pocket closed and he gets hit literally from the blind side on the 2nd effort play.
So Edgar Jones, 4th-year player out of Southeast Missouri, gets the sack. Dodged the punt. Good high kick to the sideline outside the numbers. Prince Miller picked his way through some traffic and gets knocked down near the 25-yard line. The Giants down 14 here in the 3rd. Tonight's game on NBC4 New York is brought to you locally by Nissan. It's the end of the year and Nissan's laying it all on the line. Nissan's bottom line sales event going on now. And by Ticketmaster. Buy and sell real Giants tickets at NFL Ticket Exchange, powered by Ticketmaster. Visit NFL.com/ticket exchange. The USS Constellation in the Inner Harbor, spectacular place to spend a warm summer evening in Baltimore. M&T Bank Stadium. Ravens lead the Giants 17-3. And a change of quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens as Joe Flacco's night is done. Mark Bolger in at quarterback. And let's check in on the sideline with Bruce Beck.
Hey, Bob, Deion Grant is out there, and he's always out there, a matter of fact. He's made 144 consecutive starts. Carolina 3 years, Jacksonville 3 years, Seattle 3 years. He said to me earlier in the week he believes in extra film, extra weights, extra work. He's 31 now, and he says he knows what it takes. He must outwork everybody that's younger than him.
2nd and 9 for Bolger, the former Ram. Again, tight end open. And Dixon on the catch. There is a flag on the play at the 46-yard line. Let's check the flag first. They're pointing toward the defense.
Holding. Defense number 58. Penalties declined. Result of the play. 1st down.
It's Jarris Wilkinson.
Yeah, it's Jarris Wilkinson gets beat on what we call an old bow out and go, where the tight end runs up the seam like he's going to an out route and then turns it back in.
Bolger took the hit on the play. Again, it's that middle of the field that Bolger now picks on. Smith in motion on a 1st and 10. Bolger. Dixon again. Wilkinson on the tackle, but not after a gain of 14.
You know, they're lining them up and playing a man-to-man defense here. If you can't stop them in the route, the best thing to do is stop them at the line of scrimmage. You've got to disrupt the timing here. Here he just lets him off and runs free. You can't play man-to-man defense like that as a linebacker. You've got to get hands on these receivers early, because if it's a foot race, these guys have a lot of skill.
Deion Grant helped out, but not after Wilkinson was beat. Bolger, pass batted down at the line, and incomplete. I think Tommy Hill got a hand on it. There's Mark Bolger in his 10th year out of West Virginia, 2-time Pro Bowler. Last year in 9 games, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Wasn't sure how much he loved coming to work anymore. Signed by the Ravens, caused a little angst in the Ravens locker room because a lot of the players really like Troy Smith, the former Heisman Trophy winner. They signed Bolger for some good money. 2nd and 10 for the Ravens. Bolger under pressure, gets sacked by Rocky Bernard, and a flag comes in on the play as well. And I think we're going to get defensive holding from the umpire. Check the call from Gene Steratore. Now he's motioning over to Tom Coughlin. No, it was offensive holding against the Ravens. The umpire originally pointed toward the Giants in his preliminary call, but it's going to be against the Ravens.
He's so used to being on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
That was a loss of 10 on the play, so you decline the penalty. It'd be a loss of down. It'd be 3rd and 20.
Personal foul, face mask, offense number 76. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Joe Reese, second year.
Here's a look here.
The offensive tackle.
Just penetration there. It looks like the
Grab Tommy Hill's face mask.
let's take a look here. Can't really see it from that angle. Good job by Bernard and good penetration.
4th sack tonight by the Giants. So it's 3rd and 20 for Bulger and the Ravens. Screen. Parmalee gets hammered at the 41-yard line on the play. Alex Hall on the tackle. Giants fans join Tom Coughlin and the New York Giants on Friday, October 1st at Cipriani 42nd Street in New York City for the 2010 Champions for Children event. All proceeds go to the J Fund's mission of providing financial and emotional support to families who have a child with cancer in the New York area. tcjfund.org or 212-627-1000. Bruce Beck will be handling the master of ceremonies, and he does such a great job with it. Punt by Cook, fair catch called for at the 13-yard line by Mario Manningham. With 6:24 to go in the 3rd, Ballmer on the Giant offense back on the field. Next Thursday night, September the 2nd, Giants and Patriots live on NBC4 New York. You could also see it live in 3D. It's football like you've never seen before, only from Verizon Fios. Visit verizon.com/3D Fios for game details. Now the Giants will start deep in their own territory from their own 13. Bob Papa, Carl Banks, Howard Cross, Bruce Beck from Baltimore. All Ravens throughout the course of the night. Eli Manning played a half. Giant offense not productive this evening. Andre Brown makes one man miss, can't make a second as he gets run out at the 14-yard line by Jason Phillips, second-year linebacker out of TCU, who missed all of last season with a knee injury.
Brown's got to turn that ball. He's got to square his shoulders up there. He's got one man to take on. You can't outrun him sometimes to the edge. You just got to lower your shoulder and get positive yards there.
Giant offensive line, let me reset it for you. Again, it's Will Beatty at left tackle now. Andrews at left guard. Coates at center. Petrus the right guard. Jacob Bender the right tackle. Bomar. Little roll out and throw. Completes it to the 21-yard line with Derek Hagan. 2 yards short of the first down. Knee got contacted down. Derek Hagan in his 5th year out of Arizona State. 8 catches, 101 yards last year. Originally came into the league as a 3rd-round draft pick of the Dolphins in 2006.
Guy has a lot of value. He brings a lot of value to this team with his special teams play.
Bomar will work out of the gun. Hagan split bottom of your screen. Cruz in a slot left. Bomar for Cruz. He's wide open. Makes the catch across midfield. And Victor Cruz shoved out by Ken Hamlin after a gain of 45. Carl, nice little crossing route.
Yeah, like a little scissors route there.
Not going to be able to see it here. Good protection though for Bomar. He and Hagan ran a little cross, a little shallow cross, and Cruz took it up the sideline. The former Dallas Cowboy Ken Hamlin knocked him out.
Ken Hamlin's a guy who's struggling for a job too here in Baltimore.
1st and 10 at the Ravens 44-yard line. Give it off for Brown, and he'll pick up 3 to the 41. Kelly Gregg on the tackle.
They ought to just go to the basics and run right behind Big Sean Andrews. He's moving his guy off the line of scrimmage.
Howard, what are you seeing out of Sean Andrews early?
He's doing a great job fitting right on the player, driving his feet, playing to the whistle. He's doing a lot of things that a veteran, Pro Bowl type guard would do.
Bomar under pressure, pass batted down by Donnell Ellerby, who's had a pretty emphatic game tonight. Ellerby deflected a pass that got picked, got a sack, and then on a blitz just swatted it away.
Here's a deflection here. He just comes right off the edge there, right off the edge of the center, and knocks it down. Now that's a good technique by blitzers too. If you can't get to the quarterback, but you're close enough, get your hands up there and in the throwing lane.
So 3rd and 7 for the Giants in Bomar. With 4:01 to go in the third, Giants down 14. Ravens showing blitz again with a single high safety. Bomar to the outside, and the pass intended for Cruz incomplete as Bomar took a shot.
Another shot there, but he had to be responsible for that one. That was just a blocker that was unaccounted for. Here they bring 2 off the edge here. You get one picked up, and the other one, the quarterback's got to get the ball out of his hands.
Kari Nakamura, the safety, came. So Dodge into punt. 49.2 average, 39.6 gross. Had a 74-yarder. Good high kick. Ranges inside the 10, but the Giants can't down it in the end zone. Duke Callahan had a chance to keep it in the field of play, but could not. It goes for a touchback. I talked about making plays on special teams. Duke Callahan had a chance to do it. Victor Cruz playing the role of gunner with the double team, losing his feet. Fans during the NFL season stay on top of everything. Big Blue with Giants Insider. We'll preview the upcoming game, go one-on-one with Coach Coughlin. He'll break down the game film, exclusive access to your favorite players. It's Giants Insider every Saturday night at 7 p.m. here on 4 New York. Get a look at Linval Joseph, Giants second-round draft pick in the ball game. Third quarterback used by the Ravens. Jalen Parmalee bounces to the 25-yard line, picks up 5 on the play. Troy Smith, Heisman Trophy winner in 2006, 5th-round draft pick out of Ohio State. Last year attempted just 5 pass plays for 24 yards.
He's a guy that they have kind of a multi-dimension. He can bring a little wildcat to that offense, or they need to run him out of the pocket and let him throw on the run. So they have, you know, kind of three-headed monster at quarterback. You know the main guy is, but the other two.
3rd and 5. Dixon, the tight end, has a first down. Wilkinson and Seth Williams made the tackle, but after a gain of 8. Let's check in with Bruce Beck.
Hey, Bob, these are important snaps for Jay Alford, who missed all of last year with knee surgery. He says he's starting to get more comfortable the last week and a half, getting the rust out, getting more explosive. But, Carl, I got to ask you about this line. He says it's like starting over, but at least I'm smarter. How do you react to an athlete who tells you he's smarter?
Well, it means he's playing, he's taking care of his body, and he's playing a little better technique. It's okay for an athlete to be smarter. That means he's getting better from year to year.
Now, how about that? Alford was in on the tackle, along with Linval Joseph on the run by Parmalee. Jay Alford, who had that sack of Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, lost for all of last season because of a knee injury.
There he is, holding his ground. Looks like a smart play to me, Bruce.
You know, Carl, it's interesting because with the final cutdowns coming next week and one more game, for a lot of these guys that are on the field, this is a last chance here to show if they belong or not. And again, the Ravens pick apart the middle of the field. Dixon with the catch and a first down. Heel late on the coverage.
Well, you're exactly right when you talk about the last auditions here, because it's a short week next week. Here, linebacker gets run off. Phil Dillard there. He's running away from the play. He's got to keep his eye. When you're playing zone defense, ball, quarterback, receiver relationship, they want the open windows. You got to understand, you got to deny those windows.
Smith on a 1st and 10. Darts away from some pressure. Smith is going to run it. It's tackled high by Beasting at the Giant 49-yard line. Carl, whether it's the starters that have been in the game or the reserves, the Ravens have picked upon the middle of the field.
Yes.
The question mark coming into this season, do the Giants have enough quality at the linebacker position? We know about their defensive front. We know about the additions they've made in the secondary. But have any of these questions really been answered? Even though some guys have looked good in camp, in game action, they're getting picked apart.
Well, I don't know if it's a function of the defensive coverage call. I just know they're not executing it well. The man coverage tonight has not been good at all.
Flag on the play. Smith for Smith. Incomplete. Troy to Marcus. Seth Williams on the coverage for the Giants. We'll check the flag with Gene Sterrett.
Offside. Defense, number 38, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Seth Williams called for the penalty. Let's get Howard Cross's take on it as a guy that used to have to block linebackers.
Well, they got two things going against them right now. The first thing is what Carl said earlier, no contact in the 5-yard contact zone. You got to get that on the guys if you're playing man-to-man. And the Tampa, too, looks like I've seen its head a couple times where the linebacker, the middle backer especially, is going to run deep to get to the middle of the field in that Tampa, too.
Well, and the thing about the Tampa, too, you can always throw passes underneath it. Here's Smith here.
Run a little option to Marcus Smith. And it goes for only a yard. But let's finish up on that point about the linebacker.
Well, you know, the Tampa 2 defense, you run that middle linebacker there back and gives it almost a 3-deep look, but you can hit passers underneath it. So when that linebacker's bailing out of there, if he sees someone on top of him, he's got to take that.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter. DJ Johnson a bit shaken up as he went to the sideline. It's been all Ravens tonight here in Baltimore. Baltimore, the New York Football Giants and Baltimore Ravens, a game dominated by the Ravens as they led it 17-3 at the half. That's the score as we start the fourth and final quarter. Joe Flacco threw it 34 times tonight for over 220 yards. Troy Smith in on a 3rd and 1. There's the slant and a first down. Another tight end. This time it's Dennis Pitta, a rookie out of BYU, who beat Seth Williams.
Yeah. Here's just running a little in cut there. Yeah, push off.
It's too late.
It's too late. You've got to disrupt the timing of plays, and that's when you're playing man-to-man. Understand the relationship and the timing that an offense wants to achieve.
You know, if you go and watch training camp practice, 1st and 10 for the Ravens behind Smith. As Smith goes in motion, they give it off in a dive play to Parmalee. You go watch training camp practice, and I saw it this week. Peter Junta, one of the secondary coaches, was working with the corners about getting the jam in the press and the proper hand placement. In that situation, what we just saw with Seth Williams, it's too late. He doesn't do anything, and he automatically gets beat. If you're going to press, you got to press at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, either that or you tie both hands behind your back because you're not using them.
So it's about applying the technique in the games to catch a coach's eye. Smith behind Marcus Smith. DJ Johnson on the coverage. There is a flag on the play. But I think that would be, you know, when you're looking at the coach's tape, and we'll get Gene Sterrett for his call.
Defense, number 38, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Well, that is not the way for a rookie free agent to make a team when you get called for that twice.
Yeah, it's the second time he's done that. He's got to look back there and see. Ask this guy here if he's offsides.
It's an easy call, but you know, and that's the other thing about the hand placement and the jam that they work on in practice. If you're not doing it in the game with the right technique, well, the coaches are going to assume that it's not sticking. There's no reason to keep you. Smith for Parmalee. Parmalee tripped up at the 10. Williams got a hand on the ankle. Dillard cleaned it up. Gain of 14.
You know, when you see things that were as glaring as we've seen tonight out of the first group, you got to assume that it's kind of a technique thing, and maybe it's correctable because the guys just didn't seem to be executing their man-to-man defense at all.
Dillard in a chase position on the back. Parmalee. You know, another guy you got to watch out for is Clint Sinton, the 2nd-round draft pick, who's in this game right now. And is he making any plays? Smith on the fade, knocked away by Wilkinson, and a pass intended for Dixon.
This is where, I mean, this is Jarrett Wilkinson in space. He's a very good space player, very athletic here. Here he is. Now he's trying to get a hand there, but he gets his body in good position there. That's a heck of a play by number 58 there.
Well, in space, Carl, it's never been a question about his athletic ability. It's at the point of attack that raises some questions.
Well, that just tells you he's not going to be a guy in on first and second down if he can't play it any better.
2nd and 10 for the Ravens, just outside the Giants' 10. Smith to the end zone, touchdown. Seth Williams beat by Marcus Smith. Not a good series for Seth Williams, the
Not at
rookie
all.
free agent out of Richmond. Beaten for a touchdown right here.
Square in, the safety's nowhere over the top either.
But Carl, once you retreat into the end zone, isn't that about awareness on the field? He's retreated 3 yards deep.
Yeah.
If the ball's caught inside you, it's a touchdown.
Got to know where that's field awareness.
Shane Graham, the former Cincinnati Bengal, converts on the extra point. And with 12:55 to go in the ball game, the Ravens have now pushed their lead to 24-3. The New York Giants coming up on Thursday night against the New England Patriots right here on NBC4 New York. Victor Cruz going to get a chance at a kickoff return for the Giants. Pundit with the kickoff. Squibbing kick fielded by Cruz in the end zone, and he'll have to take a knee, so he won't get a chance to return that one. And we'll step aside. Will Cruz get another chance with the offense? I'm sure he will. Giants back at Baltimore. It's time for the Verizon Wireless call of the game. Smith split to the bottom of the screen. Jacobs will get the run. Jacobs has a first down and more. Inside the 30, pinballing his way to the 23-yard line. 30-yard run by Brandon Jacobs. The call of the game brought to you by Verizon, official telecommunications partner of the New York Giants. 6 carries, 41 yards for Jacobs. Did not play last week against the Steelers. So the Giants will start offensively again, 1st and 10 with Rhett Bomar at his own 20-yard line. Andre Brown, the tailback for New York. Bomar will get sacked back at the 16-yard line. Antoine Barnes got the first hit on Bomar.
Well, this is just a coverage sack here. He's waiting for something to open up down the field, and there's nothing there. Everyone seems to be blocked up pretty good. Comes off the edge on Beatty there. He's got to sustain his block a little longer there, but it's a long developing pattern. Never got a chance to get that one off.
It's Sean Andrews out. It's Beatty from left to right. Beatty, Petrus, Coates, Wimper, and Herb Taylor now at right tackle. Andre Brown trying to find some running room, and he gets tackled by Donnell Ellerby. Flag on the play after a gain of 3. Andre Brown, a good game last week against Pittsburgh.
Holding, offense, number 85. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, 2nd down.
That's tight end Scott Chandler. Tough night for the Giants offensively. For more on that, here's Howard Cross.
Guys, again, the offensive line, no continuity. They can't give a quarterback a chance to get the ball down the field. The receivers, they got to help them out too. They got to pick up the pace and running the routes. It's going to have to take a whole group effort from the offense.
Well, talking about a group, they haven't been much of a group all preseason.
Yeah, when you asked Tom Coughlin this morning, when was the last time your starting offensive lineman was together? What did he say, 1974?
Yeah.
2nd and 21 for Bomar. Tight end screen to Chandler. Gets submarined by Nakamura after a short gain of 6.
And that may change the approach for the 4th preseason game, Bob, with this offensive line. Maybe they play them so that they can get a little cohesion.
Well, you know you're not going to have Sean O'Hara most likely for the game on Thursday night. He's got that ankle and Achilles problem, which, you know, you think, can it rest and get better in 2 weeks? Rich Seibert, number 69, started at center for 2 series and then got moved over to guard. But the Giants really haven't had that group that started 38 straight together work together. Bomar, the Brown, and the Flap. Brown gets tripped up at the 20-yard line.
Well, Seibert and Snee they've had no game action
till tonight.
So maybe they, you know, guys that got to work themselves back into this thing too.
You know, has Adam Coates done enough that you feel comfortable putting him in at center if you have to during the course of the season with Deal, Seibert, Snee, and McKenzie? If O'Hara is hobbled by that ankle?
A lot of questions to be answered prior to the first game.
Good high punt by Dodge. Miller gets tackled after a 5-yard return. Zach Diassi on the tackle. 50-yard punt, 5-yard return. Here in the fourth, Giants trail 24-3 on NBC4 New York. Tonight's game on NBC4 New York is brought to you locally by Pepsi Max. 0 calories, maximum taste, official soft drink of the New York Giants. And by Suzuki and the amazing new Kizashi midsize sports sedan. Back in Baltimore, Howard Cross, never good to clap after a play, is it?
Never good to clap out of play. First thing he has to do is defeat one man, but when you get beat, never do that, because once the coach sees that on film, he'll roll back to see why is he clapping. He's not clapping because he did a good job, that's for sure.
Cruz double teamed and not able to do much as far as the punt coverage is concerned. Ravens will take over 1st and 10 at their own 36-yard line. And they'll run it on 1st down to Curtis Steele, a rookie free agent out of Memphis. Courtney Brown on the tackle.
You know, being that gunner on the punt team, you've got to be able to pick one guy out and run at him. If you're running at both guys, you're blocking yourself there. Someone's got to tell him, look, pick one guy, run hard at him, and then create the separation so that you can sneak through that seam. Young guy, he doesn't know enough right now. Doesn't know what he doesn't know. Somebody's got to tell him.
Carl, they have Clint Sintum at defensive end with his hand in the dirt. And Linval Joseph jumps on the back of Troy Smith and gets the sack. Flag on the play. Oh, no flag on the play. So the sack is good. Loss of 3. Linval Joseph gets the sack.
Well, Clint Sintum at the University of Virginia played with his hand in the dirt quite a bit for Al Groh.
So right now the Giants have Sintum lined up at left defensive end. I'm in a 4-point stance. One of the down linemen. Pass complete over the middle to Devon Drew, one of the tight ends, 5th-round draft pick last year. Primetime fans, don't miss your favorite NBC primetime show. You can watch them right now on our new digital channel, New York Nonstop. Find New York Nonstop on these channels on your local cable provider. Carl, if you're a Giants fan, would you be concerned with the fact that they're using Clint Sintom as a defensive end?
No, I mean, he's a guy that they want to develop all of these guys and all their skill sets. So you're at that time of the year now where you can experiment.
Good punt by Cook. 48 yards, no return. Giants back on offense with 8:33 left in Baltimore. Time now for the Infinity Player of the Game, and it's Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco. 21 of 34, 229 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. One to Anquan Bolden, another one to Todd Heap. Infinity luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. Good night for Joe Flacco. Bad night for the Giants defense.
Certainly was on both accounts there. Flacco's a guy who's got a bright future, and he's doing really well here.
Gartrell Johnson fumbles the handoff attempt on the little flip from Bomar and recovers it. Loss of 3 on the play.
And you look at these young quarterbacks that came into the league, and Matt Ryan and Flacco. Here's your fumble here.
That's just an unforced error by Gartrell Johnson.
But you know, you see the great rookie years and then the sophomore slump and how they rebound from that. I don't know if Flacco exactly had a slump, but he struggled a little bit last year. Didn't have the weapons though.
Well, they added Anquan Bolden. That should help. They run it again with Johnson off the left side, takes it out to the 10-yard line, and it gets turned back after a gain of 5. Carl, you know, Wimper's back in the game. He started at left guard. He got pulled. They moved Seubert back to left guard. They put Coates in at center. Coates is still in at center. You know, trying to find some guys that can get some production with some of these injuries that they have, because who knows who's going to have to play come opening day against Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, he's in there with this group, but he still has to execute the blocking assignments. I think they have to get as much experience as possible. But boy, you really don't want to have that conversation of who's going to start in the along that offensive line this late into the preseason. They've got to start to put pieces in place and let them start to play together.
Cruz had an opportunity there in triple coverage, could not reel it in, so the Giants will have to punt. This time Bomar had a throwing lane and tried to fit it in over the top. Nakamura on the coverage. 7 punts, 48.3 yards a punt for Dodge. That's been, you know, one of the few positives here tonight if you're a Giants fan. And just as I say that, he kicks a low one that's fielded by Miller at the 45, gets tripped up after a 5-yard return. 46-yard punt, 5-yard return. There is a flag on the play back at the 21-yard line, so we'll check the flag first. Gene Steratore will give us the
During
call.
the return, holding number 36 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Penalty against the Ravens. Brad Jones. Coming September the 9th, it's back to football. The party continues live from New Orleans. Rematch NFC Championship game. Drew Brees against Brett Favre, Saints and Vikings. Sunday Night Football. Romo and the Cowboys take on Donovan McNabb and the Redskins. NFL kickoff weekend begins September the 9th only on NBC. Of course, it's Manning versus Manning, the second Sunday night game of the year, September the 19th in Indianapolis. Giants will host the Bears on October the 3rd. Good AFC East rivalry between the Jets and Miami. And then Favre going to Green Bay to take on the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And that tremendous offense in the question with Minnesota right now. Sidney Rice, hip surgery. Percy Harvin's been dealing with multiple migraines. They traded for Greg Camarillo of the Miami Dolphins to give them a little support in the passing game as Marcus Smith makes a catch for the Ravens out to the 44-yard line, gain of 5 on the play. Sharif Rashad on the tackle.
I'm sure one of the reasons Brett Favre came back was he's excited about the young receivers he was going to be throwing to. But now he's without life in the NFL.
And Eli Manning, tough night tonight. Giants not able to muster much of an attack offensively. 2nd and 5 for the Ravens. Troy Smith, little boot. Marcus Smith near the first down marker. Sinton was there to make the tackle. Carl, let's kind of focus in here on Clint Sinton, who we've seen at linebacker, now playing defensive end. Back at linebacker
here, he's pursuing the ball pretty good there. Good open field tackle.
So the last series he was at left defensive end. Now they have him back in at linebacker.
He's a multiple skill set guy, and they talked about getting the most out of these guys that can do multiple things. Still a young player, hadn't played much in this system.
3rd and inches. Smith will keep it and gets the first down to midfield with 5:43 to go in the ball game. Carl, you know, it's interesting. You go into the 3rd preseason game, it's much hyped about the final dress rehearsal. You want to get your starters into the 3rd quarter. We gave the list of all the Giants, significant Giants, that would not dress for this football game. So Tom Coughlin never able to get that real true final rehearsal where you have most of your starters in there playing. But we talk about, you know, making the roster. I would think that based on what transpired tonight, there's got to be more questions than answers after tonight.
Sure there are, but the thing is, you have to, I guess, deal with or play the cards you're dealt. Obviously, you continue to try to get better for the first game, but the season doesn't end after the first game. You've got to continue to improve. You look at Matt Dodge.
Illegal shift, offense, 2 men moving without resetting, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
Matt Dodge is a guy who struggled for, you know, the first 2 games, and now all of a sudden he's starting to get his stride there, consistent with his punts.
Let's check in with Bruce Beck.
You know, you guys have talked a lot about injuries, and Tom Coughlin was asked after Wednesday's practice about the multitude of injuries, and he growled. He said, is there a chance there's ever a question that doesn't begin, who's not here, who's hurt? Do the guys that practice ever get a question? And Bob and Carl, now that we're starting to focus on 75 guys for the cut Tuesday, 53 for next Saturday, isn't it all about guys who can stay on the field? Because Coughlin wants to see guys who can play and don't get hurt.
Well, that is certainly true, Bruce, but he might not like what he's seeing in some cases of guys that are having to play right now because the production was not there tonight. Steele can't reel in the passes, more flags fly. You know, you have to be concerned about Sean O'Hara and that ankle and the fact that he's probably out for the remainder of the preseason. We'll check the flag.
Ineligible member of the offense illegally downfield, number 76 and number 72. 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
Brian Madison and Joe Reitz called for the penalties. But Carl, you know, O'Hara, that's a question mark. We'll take a look at the 2 men downfield trying to set the screen up before the ball was thrown. Pretty obvious, 15 yards downfield. But it's got to be, you know, a bit of a concern here for the Giants. Canty's got the groin injury. No.
I think defensively you have less of a concern with personnel and more with execution. And on the offensive side of the ball, you're looking at the execution and the personnel that has to work in this offense. You just don't have cohesion.
Let's look at some of the defensive players not playing. Michael Johnson has been banged up throughout the course of camp. Terrell Thomas with a calf injury, nothing severe. Aaron Ross with the plantar fasciitis.
That may be the most severe of them all.
And Chris Canty with a groin injury this week says he should be fine. But the Aaron Ross injury is of dire concern if you're a Giants fan, as Steele takes the handoff and takes it out to the 46-yard line, gain of 6, because, Carl, as you well know, the way this game has evolved, the National Football League, it's so much more open, it's so much more passing, and you have to have 3 really good corners to be competitive in the National Football League.
You're absolutely right. The days of having a guy who's just an okay cover guy as your 3rd cornerback is out the window, because they're putting 3 starting wide receivers on the field. All 3 guys are number 1s or number 2s.
Bruce Johnson started tonight. He has struggled. He struggled in this game this evening. Smith on the throw. Smith's pass is dropped. Wide open was David Reed, the rookie 5th-round draft pick out of Utah. And a potential first down goes through his hands.
Yeah, he put that one right on the money. There was a window there, and he put it right where it needed to be. Here's the window. Got to catch that one.
And again, you know, Seth Williams, you look at this game right now, and you could be saying to yourself, he's playing his way not only off the Giants, but maybe out of the league.
Well, the thing about it, Bob, there's a reason why he's a rookie free agent. He went undrafted, so that means he has a lot to learn. You can look at it as teachable moment. Maybe he's a guy you put on your developmental squad.
Tim Brown gets a chance at the return in some traffic. 11 yards on the return. So Tim Brown trying to make a play. He's a rookie free agent out of Rutgers. But again, the Giants have not, especially with Ross hurt now, the Giants have lost a potential answer in the punt return game. Hickson's gone. He was a good special teams player before he gave you a burst. We've seen nothing out of the kickoff units.
Well, and this is how it all connects to, Bob. Good field position takes less pressure off the offense. I mean, it's not as much pressure on the offense to make plays. So you need good starting field position, especially with an offensive line that's not just set yet. So, you know, it's all relative. You get good returns. You start. At least you're punting if you can't get offense going.
Victor Cruz with a chance there, dropped the football. And that's something that Tom Coughlin pointed out to us, that one thing Cruz has done really well is catch the ball. Special teams is an area of concern with him. 2nd and 10 for Bomar. Gartrell Johnson, the running back. Bomar with plenty of time. Bomar has the pass deflected, intended to Tim Brown. Travis Fisher on the coverage. Send it down to Howard Cross.
Guys, Cruz is having a suspect game tonight. You know, he had one nice catch there on an extra play on the outside, but then you've seen him not make a couple blocks here and there, clapping his hands when he doesn't, and dropping the ball right there. Sometimes it's a little hard to play when you have that light on you.
Well, Cruz had a night for the ages in that preseason opener against the Jets, but it's been spotty since. He has the 135-yard catch. 3rd and 10 for Bomar and the Giants here in the 4th. Bomar with time again. Pass tipped at the line and incomplete.
You know, this is another area too, Bob. The backup quarterback position. You've got to find out if they're comfortable with the two guys on this roster, or is the backup yet to be released from another team?
Yeah, Jim Sorgi has got the shoulder concerns. Tom Coughlin said he'd be shocked if Sorgi is on the practice field this week. Dodge to punt. Good high punt. Sends Miller back to the 17. Miller, middle of the field, and then gets hit by Dave Tollefson, who is a good special teams player. 55-yard punt and a 15-yard return. Let's take a look at the Giants and how they open things up after their final preseason game next Thursday night. Kick things off at the new Meadowlands Stadium, the first regular season game to be played in that building against Carolina. Then here on NBC4 New York at Indianapolis, Tennessee Titans and Vince Young and their running attack. Then the Chicago Bears and Jay Cutler come to town, followed by an explosive Houston team offensively. Then the Lions, then they travel to Dallas and then to Seattle.
Might want to shore up that pass defense before the second game of the season, because you know Peyton and the Indianapolis Colts will find the holes.
Now, you know, Steve Smith coming back from that broken arm. Carolina still looking for answers at the other wide receiver spot in the tight end game. Giants will call a timeout with 3:16 to go to try to get another offensive possession. But week 2, with that Colts passing game with Reggie Wayne and Pierre Garçon and Dallas Clark, that is going to put a lot of pressure. And Carl, that middle of the field had better close up in a hurry, because Peyton Manning could do some tremendous work against all those openings.
Well, he doesn't need them that big either. Peyton Manning can put them in small areas with great accuracy, and they've got to figure out how to close this pass defense up some. Antrell Rowe had a few matchup problems there.
Smith will keep it on a little option and gets tackled after a gain of a couple. Alex Hall on the tackle. The Giants will call another timeout. Let's take a look at some of the changes that the Giants have made on the defensive side of the ball. And obviously Perry Fuel, the new defensive coordinator. He started his pro coaching career with Tom Coughlin in Jacksonville in 1998. They brought in Keith Bullock late, Antrell Rolle, the big signing, Deion Grant, veteran presence, and they drafted Jason Pierre-Paul with the 15th overall pick, plus Linval Joseph in the second round. But Carl, I think Giants fans will leave the third preseason game and kind of wonder still about the linebacking core and their ability to cover.
Well, I think again it looked like it was system-wide, some of the mistakes there, so maybe they can fill it. Now, here's the other argument that can be made. When Steve Spagnuolo first took over, they were giving up huge yardage until they got that defense kind of ingrained with these players. So maybe it's not a huge cause for concern if you're looking at the big picture. Fuel has a big picture. He's a big picture thinker.
Adrian Tracy, the Giants' 6th round pick out of William and Mary, shaken up on the play as Smith avoided the sack and nearly got the first down.
Here's a look at the play here. Let's see where it happens.
The elusiveness of Troy Smith, able to find his way through traffic. And Tracy ran into his own man. Alex Hall, number 70, hit Tracy. Take a look right there to the right of your screen with his right shoulder. So the Ravens will punt with 2:57 to go in the ball game. Good high spiraling kick. Brown from his own 10. Brown to the sideline and gets run out near the 25-yard line. 48-yard punt, 15-yard return. So the little guy, Tim Brown, doing a little something on the punt return. Well, he's listed at 5'8", 165 pounds, the 22-year-old free agent rookie out of Rutgers. Now, Bruce Beck is 5'8". Looks to me like Tim Brown's more like 5'6".
Maybe it's the hairspray Bruce had going.
Bruce, are you 5'8"?
No, I'm 5'8 3/4, guys. I mean, I'm closer to 5'9", but you know, most of my career I've tried to say that I'm 5'9", but probably 5'8 3/4. He's probably 5'5". I tower over him, guys.
You can actually post him up. The only guy you could post up in America. Bomar on a 1st and 10. Victor Cruz, nifty catch across the 40, and then gets run out of bounds. It'll be a personal foul
Blow to the
against
head
one of the
there.
Ravens, who took a shot at Cruz's head.
Personal foul. Defense. Late hit out of bounds, number 48. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
Edgar Jones called for the penalty.
Yeah, let's take a look here. After the catch here, he's running. Boom, takes a hand right to the back of his head.
Dumb play by Jones. Nice catch and run by Victor Cruz.
Yeah, that's real tough. Hit the guy out of bounds there. That's not Ravens football.
Here's Bruce.
there's
Well, you
Bruce.
see,
Let's
they're
see
about
it.
the same height when Tim
Looks
Brown
like
has
he's
his
got
helmet
you.
on, Bruce.
I could dominate him on the inside. I really could. I could back him down and hit the jump shot very easily over Tim. And remember, I have a big neck, so that makes me look taller.
But you could never catch him. Bomar's pass nearly intercepted. He threw it to a spot. Cruz was running somewhere else, and it was nearly picked off by Brad Jones.
Bob, you look at Red Bomar here, and he's been doing this all day. He's telegraphing the ball all the way. Now, I don't know if this is what you want from a backup quarterback who may have to be called into action in case your starter goes down. That's just too many moves there by
But was he expecting Cruz after that second move to cut inside?
Zigzag and zigged again. But he telegraphs a lot of his balls.
Bomar 7 of 17. Gartrell Johnson on the draw on a second down. And doesn't get anything with 2:23 to go in the ball game.
Bob, do you think it's fair to question whether or not the backup quarterback is yet to be released from another team?
No, I think
traded for? It's
think,
legitimate, wouldn't you say?
Well, as Bomar on a third down completes it for a first down to Victor Cruz to the 21-yard line, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. I'll answer your question on the other side of this commercial break. 2 minutes to go in the ball game. All Ravens, they lead at 20 with his own teammate Alex Hall being carted off to the Giants locker room with that right elbow wrapped in ice. Dr. Rodeo with him. The question here, Carl, that you asked me about is the backup quarterback on the Giants on the roster. There's Jim Sorgi. He has that shoulder injury. Remember last year he was placed on injured reserve last season because of a shoulder injury. He has a shoulder injury right now. You don't know when he's going to be ready to play. Plus he's unproven. Hey, he was a Peyton Manning's backup, but he never had to start a game. As Bomar will take a 1st and 10 snap at the Ravens 21. Bomar completes it, and the play goes down to the 1-yard line. Good extra effort that time by Duke Calhoun. But Carl, you know, Sorgi got hurt. He's never started. The Giants had a luxury the last couple of years with David Carr as the backup. Bomar has a 1st and goal at the 1 with Johnson to his left. Bomar, little corner fade. Cruz has it, and a touchdown. Cruz hung on and has the touchdown, his 4th of the preseason.
Young man has great ball skills. Will it be enough? There it is, both feet in. Or were they? Let's take a look.
Makes the catch.
Yeah, both feet
So
down.
you got him in. Official rules touchdown as he beat Prince Miller for the score.
Let's take a look.
Bomar had a blitz coming right in on him.
1, 2,
Oh,
3.
yeah, he got him in.
Yeah.
They won't even review it. Lawrence Tynes on for the extra point. Cruz 4 catches, 76 yards. And Tynes knocks it through. So, you know, is Rhett Bomar, has he shown you enough that he could be the backup? The Giants had tremendous roster flexibility by only having 2 quarterbacks the last couple of years with David Carr. Although a guy that hadn't won, he was a guy that started a lot of games, and you had the feeling that if he had to come in and play for a week or 2, you might be okay. This year, you don't really know. Bomar was a practice squad player. Sorgi hasn't started any games. He was Peyton Manning's backup. As we take a look at the injury against the Jets a couple weeks ago, where he suffered the shoulder injury on that hit right there from Jamal Westerman. But Carl, you know, the question remains, if you want roster flexibility, is there somebody out there that could get released, or maybe you'd work a trade for, that you know that if you had to start somebody for Eli Manning for a couple weeks, you'd feel like you were in decent hands?
Well, you go into the assumption that your offense is going to be okay. You know that Eli's very durable and reliable, but insurance policies, you don't know when you need them, but when you need them, it better be a good one.
Sorgi's only appeared in 16 games in his career, all in sort of mop-up duty behind Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, so he has no resume as a starting quarterback. And you start to think around the league of maybe, you know, a team that has a couple of extra quarterbacks where they might release somebody, or do you go out and work a deal? Unless you think that Sorgi's going to be okay, and maybe you have to go with 3 quarterbacks this year, but then that eliminates the flexibility of having an extra DB or defensive lineman or linebacker.
Or an offensive lineman.
Or an offensive lineman or receiver. That gives you roster flexibility, because by keeping a 3rd quarterback, you know, that's a guy that just holds a clipboard every week and is not going to participate in any aspect of the game, you know, barring a catastrophe of injuries.
Lots of questions. It's
Lawrence Tynes will kick it off deep with 1:18 to go in the ball game. Parmalee on the return. Out to the 29-yard line. Twisted down at the 30-yard line with 1:11 to go, and the Ravens up by 14. We asked Tom Coughlin about that. What is it? Where do you stand right now with the backup quarterback? And he kind of looked at us and said, I don't know.
The world's wide open is what he said.
That was his quote. The world is wide open. Has Bomar shown you enough that if Sorgi is hurt, that you go into the season with him as your number 2 until Sorgi's healthy? What is the long-range prognosis for Sorgi and his shoulder as far as his injury?
And I mean, this is not to say that Brett Bomar isn't doing a good job in the role he's playing now, but you have to look at the big picture of real-life regular season games. Do you have enough of a sampling? Do you feel comfortable enough? Because they're developing him.
Tom Coughlin, Carl, has got to be very disappointed. Pass defense, unproductive offense here tonight.
Well, I think his biggest concern will be on the offensive side of the ball, trying to get those guys in sync again. Perry Fuel is he's installing a new defense. There are going to be some issues. You got solid play from Corey Webster today, made more than solid play. So there were some bright spots in the run game, but you got to get this team headed in the right direction before the first game of the season.
Lots of work to do for the New York Giants. The final dress rehearsal, that third preseason game, not necessarily what the Giants would have liked to have seen, as Coach Harbaugh and Coach Coughlin exchanged pleasantries at the end of the ball game. And Joe Flacco had a big night. Eli Manning, the Giant offense struggled. Changes on that offensive line. McKenzie scratched late because of the migraine. Soybert started at center because O'Hara's out. Snee was back. That's a good sign for the Giants. Sean Andrews got some valuable playing time here tonight, but the Giants' first-team offense, with the exception of one drive, not able to get a lot done, and the Giants lose it to the Baltimore Ravens 24-10 here in Baltimore. As the Giants preseason continues on NBC4 New York, Giants and Patriots coming up next. It's Law